Hey there. Hello there. It's me. I just had a random thought. And it's about Darlene. How me and Darlene met. So we met on Google Plus, right? And I made a comment. I said, it was my post. I said, you gave me a piece of your mind and it was delicious. And that's when he came on my shit and was like, Sapiosexual. That's what that means. Right. The reason I don't, it's not like the reason. I don't know why I thought of him. I don't know. Sometimes these thoughts come to mind and I don't know why they came to mind. On a day-to-day, I don't like sit and think and ruminate on these people, but sometimes these thoughts come to mind, right? And I think what inspired it was he went on to tell me that he had been watching me for a while. And he noticed that whenever I had a debate or anything, that I would just completely own people. And I'm noticing that recently. And I've mentioned it before. Like, I went from having to have like 20 rebuttals to like 3 to 4. I've gotten better at my debate skills. But here's what the debate has been recently. This has come up 4 or 5 times this week, okay? And it's interesting to watch people get silent. And it's not, you can tell it's not a, they're not going to argue with me. It's like, it's dawning on them like, whoa. Because the topic is misogyny, okay? Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. You can go back to playing because I'm doing a video and you weren't even paying attention to me until I started talking. Yeah, breathing all. You hear him breathing all heavy. Well, anyway, the topic is misogyny, and I've mentioned it, but I don't really talk about it a lot because I feel like it's just one of those things that'll iron itself out, right? But lately, that's what's being pumped into my shit. I didn't argue with anyone, but I kept blocking that guy that kept coming back up in my algorithm because he's very misogynistic, and I can't fuck with it. I'm a woman, you know. But I started making comments when I see certain things that just go so. You out of line, right? And they're having like their aha moments. And it's a lot of fun to watch. So here's the thing about misogyny, okay? Here's the thing about men are the highest rate of homelessness right now, and men are the highest rate of depression, and 333 men are the highest rate of early death. That is not women's fault. And a lot of men will say, well, women have all that support. Women have women have homeless shelters and women have this, that, and the other. I understand that. I'm aware of that. As someone who stayed in a domestic violence shelter, as someone who stayed in a family shelter, those things were created by women for women. Okay? Women didn't come out here and like intentionally make stuff to keep you out of it. Women are actively running from misogyny. Okay? They didn't like leave you out on purpose. They left you out because you are the one victimizing them. And one of the things that I've been saying is that this current issue with men having it's rooted 444. It's rooted in covert emotional incest, but primarily what you guys are experiencing as men is actually a result of you men. Okay? It was men who decided that women were fragile and were locking women up in psych wards for wanting to have sex and for having emotions, and saying that that was not a manly thing and that wasn't men that had the issue. That was men that were doing that. It wasn't women. Women didn't do this to you. I mean, ultimately, to some degree, they did, because it is the mother originally that was enacting the covert emotional incest, but that can only happen if the mother is psychologically broken in the first place. Who broke her? Oh yeah, that's right, her husband that put her in a mask that had some sharp thing stuck to her tongue for nagging. So she made sure that her son would not be like that. This is a result of men and men's doing. Women didn't do anything to you. I mean, they did, but they didn't. This is a result of what men did. This is a result of the patriarchy. There are consequences. And now you want us to be aware of your issues, which you always had them. You always had them. You were projecting onto women, and now you're still women get help when they have a child. They don't get punished and they don't have to take accountability. No, women fought for that. Women fought for that. They had to fight for it. It was not handed to us. Okay? Women had to go to the government and ask for grants and shit like that to have a shelter for women to go to. Okay? So one thing I've been saying across the board is, if you want respect, the mantra is, no one can respect you if you don't respect yourself. You know, no one can love you if you don't love yourself. Right? It applies across the board. You want to say that to women, you want to say that to people of color, but men as a whole have still, the fact that you demanded your respect in the first place, and then you come through and you want to demand your respect again. No, earn it. Why don't you, young men and women who want to help, I'm not saying women can't help, but women did for women, men can do for men. You are not helpless. You are not hopeless. And because of the patriarchy, you have more chance of being able to get a grant to have a men's shelter. Okay? Those same things that you complain about women being able to get, if you were to have custody of your child and prove that you had a poor parent that you were parenting with, you'd be able to have those same benefits. It's not one-sided. You're making it that way. And it's not women's fault for falling under the programming that men created. All right? So you have to recognize the patriarchy. You have to recognize the misogyny for what it is. There was one guy, we got into a disagreement. One guy in the thread said something very misogynistic. I said, hey, that's misogynistic. That's not appropriate. And the other guy comes, that's not misogynistic. And so I had to literally give him the definition of misogynistic. And said, because of your ignorance, you are participating in misogyny. Recognize, start doing your research, because it seems like a lot of you don't even realize what misogyny is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get it. You don't see it. So you're participating. You don't even know. See a lot of that, right? So that has been the main thing, but I'm not getting a lot of pushback because it's very easy to just break it down and they're like, oh, let me shut up. You know? And that's nothing against, I have nothing against any group at all. Do your thing. Do your thing. Right? But within a healthy bounds, and you guys continue to, well, women get this and women get that. And that's like, that's so dead to me. Okay? Because those women fought for that. Okay? We fought for our right to vote. Look at all those lovely rights you women have today. It's like we had to march for that. We had to march for it. It wasn't, you didn't hand us nothing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I know you're about to say that
That's go you it's time for y'all to start doing some marches. It's time for y'all to start doing some awareness, mental health awareness, physical health awareness. Like if y'all mamas and your girlfriends aren't scheduling your doctor's appointments, somehow that's their fault and not yours. Okay? The guy that I blocked because I just got tired of seeing his shit. One of the things that he had mentioned is that like women don't want you to solely benefit off of us, right? So the woman was complaining because she's like, well, when I get home, I gotta serve you dinner, I gotta do all the housework and yada yada. And he was like, well, that's stuff you was gonna do anyway. Yeah, but what about you? Like, what were you going to do anyway? Are you going to make your doctor's appointments? Are you going? Mental health help is available to everyone if you want it. You don't have to be a woman. There was the clinic that I used to go to. Men, women, everybody went. Didn't matter if you didn't have a home. There are a lot of places who have sliding scales. So if you don't have any money, they won't charge you any money. Okay, regardless of if you have insurance or not. There's plenty of clinics that do that, mental health wise. You gotta go find it. That's not women's fault. There are very few places that are exclusive to women for mental health help. So to say that you don't have access to it is a lie. Go fucking get up and go do it. Okay? Like, literally the only place that I've ever come to where it was women only was the domestic violence shelter. Okay? Alright? And then when I went to the family shelter, men were allowed to be in there. They didn't need a spouse, right? But even in that shelter, you had to have children though. But even in that shelter, they could link you up with mental health help. Y'all's arguments are whack. You want someone to be responsible for your shit. People care. Plenty of people care. I'm starting to get off track. People care though. People care. We care. But there's certain things that you have to do for yourself and your community. That's why when I sit and I talk and I say, oh, this is specifically for Black people, or, you know, my message is for all, but this message right here is for Black people, because I have to make sure that I'm promoting my people, my demographic, right? So you're responsible for your demographic. You want women to be responsible for your demographic? Are you serious? So you want us to be responsible for our own demographic and your demographic? That don't add up. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, not only as far as misogyny goes, I don't really talk about it a lot. I think the closest I got was talking about Samuel. Okay? And I'm not even going to touch base on oh boy. Alright, y'all know what oh boy I'm talking about.
Is this the one you're talking about in your house?
No, I'm not talking about the one in my house. I'm talking about someone who's famous.
And mean?
Yeah, actually I do believe he's mean, but we're not getting into that. Because with everything there is a pro and a con. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The pro is he is bringing awareness to some male plights, but that ain't my fight. So that's all I had to say. That's what inspired the thought about Darlene, because he had said that I own every debate, and that's been the main debate that I've been. It's not even a debate, really. It's not. It's only a debate when you have even playing field, and I have the high ground. So I'm just dropping knowledge. 1414. Y'all have a good evening.